All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about something wild, the hidden world that's running the show inside your own head. Most of what you think, feel, and do, well, you're not actually in the driver's seat. And this whole idea comes from the incredible work of neuroscientist David Eagleman.
You know, this quote from Pascal, it just nails it. We tend to look up at the night sky to feel small, to feel that sense of awe, right? But what if the biggest, most mind-boggling infinity isn't out there, but right in here, inside our own skulls? So, let me ask you something. It sounds simple, but it's really not. Who's actually in charge of your brain? I mean, when you decide to do something, who's making that call? Your gut feeling is, well, I am, obviously. But the science? Shoo, it tells a totally different story.
And here's the best way to think about it. This is Eagleman's big idea. Your consciousness, the part of you that you think of as me, it's like a tiny stowaway on a giant steamship. It's just along for the ride, taking credit for this incredible journey, but it has no idea about the roaring engines, the massive crew, or the complex navigation happening deep below deck.
And just to give you a sense of what's happening below deck, get this. A tiny little chunk of your brain, about the size of a sugar cube, has as many connections as there are stars in the entire Milky Way. I mean, that's just insane. This 3-pound blob is literally the most complicated thing we know of in the entire universe.
And let's really put that into perspective. We're not just saying the connections in your brain are like the number of stars in our galaxy. No, it completely blows it out of the water. The universe inside your head is, by a long shot, way more complex than the galaxy we live in. It's not even close.
Okay, so this brings us to the first big shocker in what Eagleman calls the dethronement of you, the conscious you. And it's this. The idea that your senses are giving you a perfect, high-definition recording of reality? Yep, that's just not true. Here's a fun one. Did you know that right now, as you're looking at this, there's a giant blind spot right in the middle of each of your eyes? It's where the optic nerve plugs into the back of your eyeball. But you're not seeing two big black holes in your vision, are you? So what gives? The answer is your brain is just making stuff up. It's literally papering over the hole. It looks at the surrounding area, takes a pretty good guess at what should be there, and just fills it in. And this isn't some weird party trick. Your brain is doing this all the time. What you think of as seeing is really just your brain's best interpretation of the world. There's a reason fighter pilots have this one crucial rule. Trust your instruments. Because when you're up in the clouds, your body can lie to you in the worst ways. You might feel like you're flying straight and level, but you're actually in a nosedive. Your senses are telling you a great story, but it's a fiction. The instruments, they tell the truth. It's a perfect example of how our senses are incredible storytellers, but not always honest ones. So, okay, our brain kind of fakes our view of the outside world, but that's just the start of it. What about your inner world? That solid feeling you have of being one single person, a unified you. Well, guess what? That's another one of the brain's clever illusions. I mean, think about this. Have you ever gotten mad at yourself? Like, why did I eat that extra slice of pizza? Wait a second. Who is angry at whom? Who's the you that's mad, and who's the you that ate the pizza? It's a weird question, but it points to something really deep. The reason you can argue with yourself is because your brain isn't one single thing. It's not a dictatorship with you at the top. It's more like a noisy democracy, a parliament full of different parties, a team of rivals, all shouting, all debating, all trying to grab control of your actions.
And here's a fantastic way to see this inner conflict in action. You've probably heard of the trolley problem. So scenario 1, a trolley is about to hit 5 people. You can pull a lever, switch the tracks, and it'll only hit one person. What do? Most people say, yep, pull the lever. It's cold, hard math, right? 1 life is better than 5. That's your brain's logical, calculating side kicking in. Okay, but now let's tweak it. Same trolley, same 5 people. But this time, you're on a bridge over the track with a large person. The only way to save the 5 people is to physically push this person off the bridge into the trolley's path. Same math, right? 1 life for 5.
But suddenly, for almost everyone, the answer changes to a hard no way. Why? The math is identical. but the problem feels completely different. Pushing someone feels personal. It feels like murder. That's your emotional brain networks screaming at your rational brain. And in this case, the emotional side usually wins. It shows you're not just one thing. You are a collection of competing drives.
And this is where things get really complicated. If so much of what we do is run by these hidden systems, these competing rivals, then what does that even mean for stuff like free will, for responsibility? I mean, if you're not fully in charge, are you really to blame? Let's dig into this with a really tragic but important story. The case of Charles Whitman. Back in 1966, this guy, an Eagle Scout, a totally normal-seeming person, committed one of the most infamous mass shootings in American history. But the most shocking part of the story, that came out after, during his autopsy. See, the night before, Whitman wrote a suicide note, and in it he said things like, "I don't really understand myself these days." He talked about being a victim of irrational, violent thoughts he couldn't control. He basically pleaded for someone to examine his brain after he died because he knew something was wrong. And you know what? He was absolutely right. The autopsy found a brain tumor the size of a nickel pressing right on his amygdala, a part of the brain that's critical for controlling emotion and aggression. His behavior wasn't a choice in the way we normally think of it. His biology had been hijacked. That parliament in his head, it had been overthrown by a tumor. Now, the Charles Whitman story is an extreme example, but it shows how powerful biology is. Take a look at these crime stats. If you have a certain genetic marker, you are almost 10 times more likely to commit homicide, over 40 times more likely to commit sexual assault. So what is this scary genetic factor? It's the Y chromosome. In other words, being male. Now, this isn't about blame, of course not. It's about recognizing that our biological starting points aren't all the same. And if our basic biology, our genes, the physical state of our brain, can have such a massive influence on our actions, it really makes you wonder, where does real choice even begin? Okay, I know this all sounds kind of heavy, like we're just puppets of our biology. But what if this isn't a bad thing? What if realizing you're not the king of your own mind isn't a demotion? What if it's actually an introduction to something way bigger and more amazing? Think about it like this. For centuries, we thought the Earth was the center of everything. Then Galileo comes along and says, "Nope, we're just another planet going around the sun." At first, that felt like a huge demotion for humanity, right? But what did it really do? It opened up the true scale and wonder of the cosmos. Well, neuroscience is doing the exact same thing, but for our inner cosmos. And that's really the big idea to take away here. What if finding out you're not the king isn't scary at all? What if it's just you, the stowaway, finally getting a tour of the magnificent, incredible, awe-inspiring ship that you've been riding on this whole time? The ship that is, in fact, you.